Hello AP classes, this is Mr. Liao and I'm going to go over some of the keys in the 2020 AP testing guide. It's pretty long. You can find this document online and I'm just going to go over some highlights as it pertains to the test that we're looking at in my classes. So for summary, you're going to go to this website cb.org/AP2020 and you can see the contents therein. You will want to look at this testing guide or a couple other videos that I uploaded that are going to summarize what you can expect. The big thing will be the testing demo on May 4th that you should be able to try and use in preparation for the test so that you can be accustomed to the procedures you need to do to submit your response and to actually take the test. So here's the steps in the guide. You can read it. I'm going to keep going. So the big thing is your AP exam e-ticket. So 2 days before each test, you're going to get an email with your e-ticket. Now the email is going to be linked to your AP email address. Now actually I can see all the email addresses that you used to sign in to myap.collegeboard.org. And if you're not sure what it is, I can tell you. If you can't, you can just log on to your AP account and you'll find it there. The ticket is personalized. Do not share it. Don't let anyone else click on it, especially on the test day. Bad news. Now, at this point, this is your exam. This is your ticket to get in. And if you cannot take the May exam, your ticket for the May exam will automatically become your ticket to the June exam. So make sure you look for this email or you log into your account so you know how to access it. So again, for my classes, the AP tests are going to be on Wednesday, May 20th, Thursday, May 21st for Econ, and stats Friday, May 22nd. So notice all these times are going to be at the same time. So for the econ test, both tests are at 1 o'clock. For the stats test, the test is at 11. So make sure you use the e-ticket that you got for the correct test, because if you're both of my classes, you're going to get all 3 tickets that all be active at the same time. Make sure you click the right one for the right test. Micro on the 20th, macro on the 21st, stats on the 22nd. If you don't use your ticket for that test because you have a conflict for some reason, it'll automatically become available for your makeup test in June. The strong encouragement is that you take the test, because if something goes wrong in this test in May, you still have a chance to make it up in June. If something goes wrong in June, as far as I know, you're out of luck. So take it in May if you can. The June makeup dates, there's a lot more overlap, but if you are interested in the makeup test, if you don't use your May ticket, you'll automatically be able to use it for June. You can see the dates for macro. It's June 4th at 9 in the morning. For micro, it's Friday, June 5th at 11 in the morning. And for stats, it's Thursday, June 4th at 1 in the afternoon. So try to do the May test if you can. The June makeups are really basically for conflicts or things that go wrong during the May test. So remember, all students everywhere are taking it at the same time. Make sure you look at the Pacific time. So if it says 11 a.m. for Pacific, that's when you're taking it. Most of you will be in the Pacific time zone. Won't be an issue. Make sure you look for your local time zone. I will remind you many times, okay? Do not go into the wrong time. Look at your e-ticket. The e-ticket is supposed to have your local time zone. So if it doesn't, make sure you convert it correctly. So a couple of things on this test. It's not going to be more difficult to get a 3, 4, 5. It's going to be scored like before, so do the best you can. AP exams are not graded on a curve. Basically, there's a threshold that you need to reach as a test taker to get to 3, 4, 5. That's not going to change. It is calibrated. They use statistical analysis to figure out what it is. Don't worry about it. It's not graded on a curve. Everyone can get a 5 in theory. Here's the big one, and I really want you to look at this. Do not worry if you don't complete all the parts of the question, because the way the questions are written are intended to give you many chances to show what you know, which means there's a good chance that you will not be able to answer every part of every question, and you don't need to do that to get a 5. Now historically, and I don't know if it's going to be different this year, on the stats test you need roughly 70% to get a 5. For the econ test you need roughly 77, 78%. So for 3 and econ you need maybe a 60% or mid-50s. For stats you need a little over 50%. So don't worry if you don't complete everything. Do what you can. You might want to quickly see what's being asked and focus on those parts, the parts that you know. You'll have multiple chances to show what you know. But don't forget, you will not be able to complete all the parts of the question, probably. Okay? Just do the best you can. If something looks unfamiliar, keep doing it. AP questions are very well written. They're very good at getting you to think about things you hadn't thought about in class. And so do the best you can. So one thing that could happen this year is if you get a score of 2 or lower, and I think that you actually deserve a higher score, I can actually petition the AP to review and confirm your score to see if you can get your score adjusted. So I don't know how that's going to work. There'll be more details later, but the AP test is not going to be final in that sense that if you do worse than I think you should do, there might be a way to get a higher score or retake it. We're not really sure yet. So just be aware of that. So here are the ways that you can take the test. Now, the basic guideline behind this is if it's not in this guide, you can do it. If it specifically says something in the guide where you can't do it, then you can't do it. But otherwise, you can do anything that's not in the guide. Now, there are basically 3 ways that they suggest you do this. First, to copy and paste a type response. Second is to attach a type response. And third is to write it out, take a picture, and submit it that way. Now, there's another way that some of you have asked about. Can I take the picture on a computer, write it out, take a picture on my phone, then upload it? You can do that. It just takes a little more time. So I'll explain that when we get there. So option 1 is to copy and paste a type response. So you're going to have 2 windows open. You're going to have the browser with the AP questions. And in the second window, you're going to use Google Docs or Microsoft Word or something else that types. Do not include images. They are not going to score images this year. Save your work often. So if you have Google Docs, it'll automatically save. You have Word, make sure you just constantly save. At the top of every page, whether you're typing or writing, you're going to put in your AP ID. That's going to be on your e-ticket and the initials. And then you're going to have time. And at 5 minutes to go, the timer will turn red. And that's the time where you can begin to submit your response. So here's your setup. In the first window, you have your browser, Chrome, Firefox, Safari, or Edge. Don't use any other browser. They won't work. It'll have the test question. It'll have the timer. And then what will happen is you will type up your response in a Google Doc or Microsoft Word. When you're done, you will copy it and paste it into the window itself. It'll say copy, paste, or paste something, and you'll just type it in or paste it in and submit. Option 2 is to attach a document. So just like before, one window is going to have your browser. The second window is going to have your Google Doc or Word. You're going to have your AP ID and initials at the top, and then you're just going to type it as if you're typing a paper. What you're going to have to do then is you're going to have to save the document as a doc file, docx, PDF, TXT, or ODT file, and then you're going to have to attach it when you submit your answer. So it'll say attach and submit. So make sure you save it in one of those formats. Do not share a Google Doc format. Save it as a Word document file, DOC or DOCX, or text file, okay? So this is submit. The third way is, and this is good for especially for stats because you might have to write some formulas with Greek letters or square root, is to write it out and take the test on your phone or tablet. So write your AP ID, initials, and page number on the top of each page, and write your response clearly with pen or pencil. When you have 5 minutes to go, take a picture of your paper in vertical orientation, in portrait mode, not landscape. And you're going to take 1 photo per page, 1 page per photo. You can attach up to 5 photos per question, and then you're going to send them and submit it on your phone or your tablet with a built-in camera. And they will accept PNGs, JPGs, and JPEG files. Now, the big thing people are asking is, can I take a computer on a laptop? Because the thing with the phone is it's kind of hard to see the entire question. You're going to be scrolling a lot, and that's obviously not ideal. If you have a tablet, that's a little better because the screen's bigger. You can do it on a desktop or a laptop and take a picture with your phone, but you're going to have to somehow transfer it to your computer and upload it from your computer. So you can do it, but it takes a few more steps. It might take a little bit of time, and every additional step might lead to things going wrong. So it's something to think about. On the demo day, you can practice it. So on the exam day setup, you'll have your smartphone or tablet, you'll have a timer, you'll take pictures, and you're going to attach submit photos. There's a video on the internet or on AP that they submitted to show you how to do this. I would encourage you to watch it. We're not doing music theory, so I'm going to skip it. Not doing world languages, so I'm going to skip that. Accommodations, if you have any accommodations, you can talk to me, but it should have been already approved. Makeup test. So if you don't take the test on the May date at all, you don't even use your ticket, it'll automatically become used. It'll automatically work for the June date. You don't have to apply or petition for anything. If you have an issue, you're going to submit a request makeup form at this website, cb.org/request makeup. You have to have your original e-ticket. And here's the big thing. You have to submit within 48 hours. They're going to review your request, and if they approve it, they'll send you a new makeup ticket. Okay? They made a big deal is don't call them. No one's going to be there because of the pandemic. Everybody's at home. Call centers are closed. So these are the issues you want to look for. Sickness, significant interruptions from family members, battery failures, power outages, technical disruptions like your internet going out. Now, the thing is, simply running out of time is not going to be a valid reason. Now, people are thinking, well, what if I ran out of time, but I just tell them something went wrong, like the power went out. Well, I'd imagine they have a way to track what you're actually doing. So they can see that your timer was going, there were no problems, and now you're lying about it. So don't lie. If you ran out of time, you ran out of time. The big thing you're going to want to remember is you have to click submit before the 5 minutes are up, before the time's up. If you don't submit, you don't have anything to submit. There's nothing to grade. So the exam screen will guide students step by step. After you click your e-ticket, you're going to have to fill in all the registration stuff. Historically, we do all that pre-bubbling. You're going to have to do that by typing it in. If unexpected events happen, this is where you prepare in advance. And now we're going to look at some other slides to confirm readiness for home AP testing. So before exam day, there are 5 steps that the AP says you should do. First, check your contact. If you're not getting the emails from AP, make sure you check your email. If you don't have your email address, you can ask me. I can look it up for you. Check your tech, and that'll be one of the slides. Just make sure your computer or your laptop, or your phone, your tablet all work. Here's the big one. The demo will be available on Monday the 4th. Try it. Test your setup. It won't be the subject question. It'll just be probably random stuff, but at least you can practice submitting using different procedures. You want to try just doing it all on laptop, copying and pasting versus attaching, or using your phone. You can try it and see which one works for you. Gather what you need on each exam day. So for Econ, you should have your notes. For both classes, you should have your notes, but you should have graphs. You should probably also have scratch paper so you can draw graphs. Even though you don't have to actually do graphs on the test, drawing graphs might help you answer some of the questions. For stats, that means having a formula sheet. That means having a calculator. That means having just a list of your notes that you can easily reference. Do not expect to spend much time looking online for stuff. It'll just take too long, okay? And then check your confirmation to get your emails. If you're signed up for the test, you will get your emailed e-ticket 2 days before the test. So reviewing the contact information, go online to myap.collegeboard.org, check your info, make sure it's correct. If you're not getting your emails, make sure you whitelist this address so that you can get your AP's emails from AP. So check your device. You don't need the lockdown browser. Some of you might be doing AP Classroom. You don't need the lockdown browser. If you have Grammarly installed, you need to uninstall it because apparently the AP test won't work. Don't worry about world languages for my students, at least not for my class. You don't have to submit graphs or diagrams. So no graphs, no diagram, no histograms, no aggregate demand, aggregate supply graphs, no perfect competition graphs. You don't know graphs. If you feel more comfortable writing, especially for stats, and if you're taking calculus, you might be more comfortable. Practice what you want to write. If you want to type, there are shortcuts that you can use, but frankly, if you're not typing stuff, don't worry about it. You're probably better off writing, okay? In most subjects, a smartphone is going to require scrolling back and forth. So again, it's suggested that you use a desktop or laptop. If you really want to write and use a smartphone, you can. If you are willing to take a picture and do it on the test day, just keep in mind it takes more time because you got to share it with your computer, maybe through Gmail or something, and then you got to copy it over. It just takes a little more time. It can be done, but you just have to budget the time it takes to do it. Prepare your docs for typing. Here's a big thing. When you type responses, you can pre-create Google Docs or Word docs in advance. And what you want to do is type in the AP ID and the initials at the top. That way you don't have to do it on the day of the exam. So you can just start it and hit the ground running when you take the test. You might want to label the questions. There can be 2 questions, so you can be AP Stats or AP Macro, question 1 or question 2. Don't make sure you submit the right question with the right question, because even if you don't, the file name doesn't matter so much. It just keeps it straight for you when you're taking it, okay? For handwriting, again, you can get the paper in advance. You can number your pages. You can write your ID and your initials at the top before the day of the test, and you'll just be ready to go when the test starts. So on May 4th, again, test your tech, practice submitting responses using the different platforms that you can try, and try again. And if you can't get it to work, if your browser doesn't work, that's when you know that you need to get a new browser, okay? If you don't have a computer that works, contact the school, tell them I need a Chromebook. They can still probably get you one for the test. So on exam day, you need all these things. You need the exam ticket email, you need the checklist, you need your electronic device, a browser, Chrome. Most of you use Chrome anyway. I guess if you have a Mac, you might use Safari, but generally Chrome is the one you want to use. For typing responses, Word or Google Docs, whatever you're more comfortable with. You can use notes, you can use study guides, you can use your textbook, and you can use assignments or assessments. Chances are you won't be spending much time referring to those because the more time you look stuff up, the less time you have to answer the question. So hopefully you'll be as well prepared as you possibly can be under this environment to not spend too much time looking stuff up except for maybe the odd formula. So for macro and micro, it's recommended that you have some scrap paper for sketching out graphs because some of the questions they'll ask, what might happen if aggregate demand decreases or if consumer income increases, what happens to price level? So that might help you to truthfully just scribble a graph and do it. For stats, you'll get the formula sheet. I've already attached it to the Google Classroom. I'll send it to you guys again. It's going to have the formulas. It's going to have table A, table B, table C. You don't have to worry about table C, it's the chi-square. So table A, table B. But you should be ready to do it. Now, if you want to type your response, it has abbreviations that are accepted for things like exponents and square roots and mu and p hat. If you want to do it, that's fine. I think you might be just better off writing it because you're used to writing it. I would not want to mix writing and typing. They're not going to look at images. You can use a calculator for any test this year, but they did say that the questions do not require a calculator to actually do the math. So optional resources, there are a lot of things you can look up online, but they are advising you not to go online because the resources that you have are probably the best you have available. Internet searches are wasting your time because they're not going to ask you fact-based questions. They're going to ask you questions where you have to analyze. And if you look something up and someone happens to type and you copy it, it's going to be flagged. So don't look stuff up because you might accidentally copy something and that might trigger a warning to the computer that you might be doing something wrong. Any copying or getting help from other people is considered plagiarism. Scores will be detected the errors will be detected and scores canceled. They said they have some very high level security and checks to see if this works. They won't reveal it because they said if it reveal it, it compromises it, but who knows if it's true. But you don't want to risk this. There's still college credit on stake. If you get caught cheating, there are repercussions beyond just a canceled score. So again, look for the exam confirmation 2 days for each test. May 4th, do the demo, practice it. At this point, if you haven't signed up for the AP test, it's too late. That's what they said. So if there was a mistake and you didn't get it, unfortunately, you're out of luck. So there's not much they can do about it this year. So the AP day checklist, I've attached this as well. You can see if you have everything you need. You can print it out, write on it, have it ready, have your AP ID ready to log in. Now in the day exam, there are going to be several steps. It's going to be very different than usual, obviously. So 30 minutes before you start, and we're going to look at these, 30 minutes for your local time. So if it's a 1 o'clock test, beginning at 12:30. If it's an 11 a.m. test, beginning at 10:30. You're going to check into your test. You're going to complete your identity information. It's basically the substitute for all the bubbling you used to have to do. And then you will wait for the test to begin. It's going to begin everywhere at the same time. There will be a timer on the screen. For question 1, it's 55% of the test. You have 25 minutes to read, question, and develop a response. You're going to type it in or write it on paper. The timer will say 30, but the first 25 minutes is for you to read and develop a response. In the last 5 minutes, the timer will turn red, and that's the time that you can submit your response. Now, you need to submit before the time hits 0. So yes, you can keep working after 5 minutes, with 5 minutes to go, but you want to give yourself enough time to at least submit your response. So if you're attaching, you need to save the document, and then you need to attach it. That might take 30 seconds to a minute. So don't wait too long, because if you submit something too late, you don't get any credit for it, and it's pretty much over. Now, this is a mistake. This should actually be 15 minutes. So you have 15 minutes to answer the second question, is 45%, and again, 5 minutes. So the clock will say 20 minutes. 15 minutes, the first 15 minutes will be to answer the question. The last 5 minutes, the clock will turn red, and again, you will submit your response in the same way. Okay, so that's how the test is. 2 questions, a 25-minute, a 15-minute question, 55%, 45%, that's it. Now, what you want to do is be as distraction-free as possible. Tell everybody it's like an hour. Hopefully they let you go. Here's a big one. If you have limited bandwidth, and I have friends that I've been talking to online, and they're staying at their parents, and they don't have good internet, tell people to not stream Netflix or play Fortnite while you're taking the test. It's 1 hour. They can deal. If you have multiple people taking an AP test at the same time, do the best you can. Just make sure that bandwidth is not the problem. Now, what they did tell you is that once you hit submit, as long as you hit submit before the time runs out, it'll continue to upload in the background. So say you're submitting question 1, you hit submit before the time runs out, it may not be finished submitting or uploading when question 2 starts, but it'll run in the background. And as long as you get the confirmation and as long as you click submit before the time runs out, you should be fine. That's what they told us anyway. All right, exam security. The big thing is you may not get help from other people, whether it's online or in person. You may not give aid or receive aid from anybody. So that might mean using a phone or instant messaging or whatever. Okay. Techniques are going to remain confidential to see if they work. Who knows if they work? I don't know. Don't do it. It's not worth it. You will very likely get caught, and then that's going to be with you. It's going to be reported to colleges, and who knows what that does to your mission. Don't do it. Check into your exam 30 minutes beforehand. You're going to have your exam ID. You're going to sign up. You're going to hit continue, and at the bottom right, you'll see a clock that tells you how much time is left. Do not refresh your browser. Do not hit the back button. They made a big deal of this. Don't refresh. Don't hit back. Now, if something goes wrong and everything works, nothing works, then you might want to deal with it. But as long as the clock's running, don't refresh. Now, exam questions, you're going to have different parts like A, B, and C. Make it clear. Do them in order. Label them clearly. Write as clearly as possible. You cannot make notes on your screen. Make sure you have each response for each question on separate sheets of paper numbered. Okay, so you don't actually have to write the question number because they'll know based on which question you submit it with. Just do the best you can. Okay, so answer the questions. Notice that the ID and your initials are at the top. Managing your time. Before 5 minutes are left, the timer will turn red. The clock will always be on the screen, whether on your phone or on your computer or on your tablet. Now, even if you don't answer the questions, you can still answer all the questions. You can still get a 5, but make sure you submit your response on time. You don't submit it all, you don't get any credit for it, and you're pretty much done because each question is worth almost half the test. So it makes it really hard to get a decent score. Okay, losing track of time is not an acceptable reason for a makeup. This is pretty strict. Do not leave it too late. Do not take the risk. Okay. Who knows how the bandwidth is going to be on test day. So again, getting 3, 4, 5, the standard is going to be the same as before. So submitting responses is a 2-step process. First, you have to attach or paste your response, and second, you have to click submit. If you don't click submit before the time runs out, your response won't count. So make sure you click submit. Even if it doesn't finish transferring before the time runs out, that's fine. It'll still be uploading in the background when you move on to the next question or after the time runs out. So as long as you click submit, it should be okay. Okay. Now there are a couple ways to do it. You can attach a doc file by selecting attach file, browse for a file, and then you're going to select a text file to attach, just like you would pick a file on a browser or in your computer. Second, you can paste your response. So copy it out of Google Docs or Word and just copy and paste the whole thing. Do a big Control-C, Control-V, and paste it into the box. Then submit it that way. The third way is on your phone or your browser, or phone or your tablet, excuse me. You can upload pictures of your handwritten work. You'll upload them in order of the correct pages and then submit. You can only do 5 per question. Again, make sure that they are in order. So what could possibly go wrong on an electronic test? Well, if it crashes, your device crashes, your internet crashes, whatever, you can use your e-ticket again to resume. If you feel like that disruption negatively impacted your performance, you can request approval for a makeup test by going to this page, cb.org/request-makeup. Don't refresh your browser or hit the back button. Again, don't call. If you have any problems and you need to submit a petition to retake, go to that website, fill out the form. Next, exam scores, credit, and placement. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. So exam scores will be graded just like usual. Scores will be on 1 to 5. Scores will come out a little later this year, July 15th, about a week later than they usually do. Basically, these are testimonies from different universities saying they're still going to accept the credit for the abbreviated test. Here's the big one, UC, they're still going to accept it just like before. All right, this is the last slide. If you can't access the exam demo from May 4th from your browser, then you need to get a new browser. It'll only work on the latest version of Chrome, which is the ideal browser, Firefox, Safari, or Edge. Don't use Internet Explorer. Who uses Internet Explorer? But don't worry, you won't use it anyway. You won't need it. Don't use it. Use Chrome, okay? You can check to make sure that the test works. Disable any browser plugin or extension, especially Grammarly. Who knows how other plugins or extensions might affect the testing platform? So if you can, disable it. All right. So that's it for this brief overview. If you have questions, I don't know all the answers, but I've watched this presentation twice for my 2 subjects. So if you have any questions, you can ask me, and I'll see if I can get an answer for you.